Hey, it's Mikey Mike. Hey, we're foil boarding in Long Beach. That's right, it's our third session, and we're doing pretty good. Had a great session today. The winds were up about 15 to 20-ish, and had a quick some help here on the beach by Nemo. This guy is amazing. He's a great kiteboarder. Man, he kites boots, and he's just awesome. So he's going to fly his kite and launch my kite at the same time. So I felt pretty comfortable with that. The winds were pretty low and helped me out. So we got, the kite up in the sky and, you know what? Got lines straight, backed up a little bit, and launched the kite. Awesome. And matter of fact, he got his gear all set up and caught me on the beach as I'm getting ready to get my foil out there. So you can see the big wing out there. It's the Slingshot Infinity 76 and the what board is this? I can't remember off the top of my head. The Eliminator, I think it's a 5.6 board. A lot of flotation, really great, and doing really good. A lot of traffic. This was a little bit later in the afternoon. A lot of traffic in the afternoon, and was working through it. But I was able to get up and do some taxiing and get up on foil as well, and actually got upwind. Holy cow. It was awesome. So as soon as I dive the kite and get up, and you got to go one-handed and kind of do the, I'm going to call it the poop squat, kind of just focus on the board and squat your legs down. And I was having a little bit of difficulty kind of flying the kite and knowing where it's at because I'm too busy looking down at the board and trying to figure out if I'm foiling or not. And so I'm always having to tap the bar with my hand. And if I have it too deep in the wind window, then it's going too fast, and then I'm panicking. So, but I'm doing okay. And actually, you can see where I'm going. I'm actually heading upwind, and there's a few kiters going sideways, and I'm going to cross their wake there, which was awesome, right? And somehow I don't understand how I didn't crash all this time, but I'm still going along, and I cut through the big chop here. So I guess the foil's working, so it has plenty of lift. It's the Infinity 76, and it's working really well. It works great going slow, that's for sure, but when you go fast, I'm just trying to cut upwind and kind of lean back a little bit, and I know it's there. I'm just not quite there yet. So really get high on the foil and get a little too lean back, and then I dive the nose into the water and then got to restart. But I did try pulling my foot out of the back strap a couple times and putting it on the strap, and that felt uncomfortable. So I put it back in the strap, but I can definitely move my feet around. I'm pretty comfortable with that. And almost more comfortable than on my surfboard for just regular kiting. But this definitely helped a lot, which was awesome. So definitely a lot of face plants and just diving the nose of the board in the water, kind of the bucking bronco effect. So if you're learning foil boarding, it is definitely a learning curve. But I picked it up pretty easy. For me, I would say it's easy, but I think because it's so slow and working the surfboard so long that I have a pretty good feel on the surfboard. And just the one-handed kiting here and then doing the poop squat really works good. And I'm working through a lot of traffic, and these people do not have any clue that I am completely out of control. But for some reason, it looks under control. I'm panicking 100%. So, we're doing pretty good. The big issue is, getting your feet in the board and trying to push the board away. That wing has so much force that it's hard to get the board pushed away from me. So, it's a little tricky. Trying to keep the bar pushed away and to get the kite to fly. Earlier it was super light. It's a little bit windier right now. It's a little bit later in the afternoon. I think further in the video I have some earlier shots. Kind of got the timing messed up here. But you can see there's a kite down there. He's a beginner. I'm coming back to the shore now. Excuse me, going to the, going back upwind. And I started to buck a bronco here, and I'm getting out of control, and I crash, face plant in the water, let the bar go, and the kite maintained in the sky there, which is great. And I'm right in the stingray zone, and I didn't get stung, which is awesome. And then all of a sudden, the kite crashes right next to me. It was just like boom. So you'll see that a little bit later on here in the and the kite cam perspective, the Bucko Bronco action and the kite crash. So I'm kind of taxiing and still foiling it. It's kind of, you know, on and off. So I guess that's part of it. So the less you see the wake behind me or off the splash off the side of the board, the more I'm foiling is what I'm thinking, right? So getting pretty close in the shore now. I'm foiling in a Bucko Bronco. And sorry for this kind of sideways aspect here, but man, I got twisted up in my foot strap there and about broke my ankle. That did not feel good. And then all of a sudden, here comes the kite, the other side. You'll see it, the blue kite. And then he just turns and almost crashed right on my lines. It was a beginner. He was with an instructor, and you know, stuff like that could happen. So no matter where you are, and I am a beginner on the foil, so, but I'm pretty aware of where the kites are. So yeah, you know, it happens. So doing pretty good. Diving the kite, getting up, and as soon as I let the hand go and kind of go downwind, and then just start carving upwind a little bit, and it's working out pretty good. So just a major carve upwind there, and just trying to dive the kite to get a little bit more power and speed. And this is a little bit earlier. There's not as many kites on the water right now. So, and then there's another person coming up, and I see him coming, so I can't really dive the kite because I'll smash it on their head. So I have pretty good situational awareness, which is very important when you're kiting. And then I lose it. So face plant, and the board stayed pretty close, so I was able to kind of get that and relaunch. Try to remember to keep that bar pushed away to get the kite to fly, and then sideways, and then dive the kite for a deep dive, one-handed again, and let the bar go, and then just kind of stay on top of the board. Is my concept, and I'm not sure if I'm doing it right or wrong, but it seems to be working. And cutting through some chop, and I'm going pretty darn far on a single ride, which yeah, I didn't expect that to happen, but there is definitely a lot of Bucko Broncoing going on here, and that's okay though. As soon as I get under control in the one-handed, then I'm going to try to cut upwind a little bit. And sorry for the big water spot in the video. It's you know, this is the GoPro Silver, and I got a kite cam, the GoPro Silver as well. I try to lick the lens before I go out kiting, but sometimes that doesn't work too well. And I tried some what is that called, Rain-X on it a couple times, and that didn't seem to help either. So it is what it is. So kite cam perspective, we're kind of cruising along here. And you can see the big wake, and then I try to cut upwind there a little bit. Not enough power, so trying to dive the kite. And for those of you guys that are foilers, you know, hey, please leave some feedback, because you know, I have no clue what I'm doing here, but I'm doing the best I can. And then you can see that's where the kiter kind of came by, and then I try to dive the kite, and then I crash here pretty quick. So, and mega face plant. So, you know, you guys can enjoy my pain while, so we're actually foiling a little bit here. So you can kind of see where the wake goes away, and it's just kind of a streamline. It's more a lot of touch and goes, but then I get the Bucko Bronco action going, and I just get out of it. Trying to keep my, I was trying to pull my foot out of the back strap and keep the front of the board down a little bit more, or move my weight forward. But it was a little tricky. So this is still a little early. We're on the 14-meter switchblade, and it had perfect power. It's about 20 miles an hour or so, and you can see I'm Bucko Broncoing a little bit, but still able to recover to point more downwind a little bit, and then kind of carve back upwind a little bit. So right here, a little on the foil, not too high off the water, but still foiling, and then face plant. So if you guys got any tips or tricks, please let me know. I think I'm doing fair to partly cloudy, and then I'm getting some speed, and a couple times I pulled the trim in a couple times because I thought it was a little overpowered, or let me call it scared, and then I figured out that, you know, a little more power is better and try to keep the kite overhead. So And working through the traffic was probably the trickiest thing. It was a Saturday, a lot of kiters around, and trying not to kill anyone and myself was a chore. So as soon as I dive the kite and pop back up, one-handed, and then let the hand go. That seemed to be the best technique. And just kind of go downwind a little bit and then try to cut upwind. And then try to work through the traffic. So there's a lot of traffic here. Oh my gosh. It makes it really tricky where all the kites are. And I'm coming by the Nemesis buoy here and make it past the buoy. And I get a good long run here. So it's kind of touch and goes as we're going along here, trying to get through the traffic. But I'm feeling pretty good, actually. And I don't know how or why it's working. It's just working. So I'm just going with it. So once again, third session, foilboarding. It was probably a good, I would say the total time on the water probably was an hour and a half to 2 hours throughout this video. It's probably a 18-minute video here. So I spared you walking up and down the beach and all the other fun stuff and recovering the board. And there was a lot of that, but you know what? This foil board definitely can move out, and you're chasing these boards a lot of times. So your body dragging skills don't have to be that great to get your foil board. That's for sure. You're almost, really chasing it. So can't transition, so I just turned the board around. I got far enough, and then look at this. I'm going to go upwind or back the other direction, and that I'm pretty far off the beach. So that's, to me, that means I went upwind. So I think that's a win for me. So I kind of dive the kite in the opposite direction and then give it back in the power zone as much as I can. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So look at all these kites in real close proximity, and we're trying to weave through everybody. And a lot of times I almost get pulled over the board, but as soon as I let the hand go and try to carve up wind, it seems to be a little bit better. So this Infinity 76 is working out really well. I have plenty of lift. I'm all the way back on the board. The foil's as far back as you can go in the furthest position back. And that seems to be working out really well. It has plenty of lift. I'm 200 and almost 70 pounds, and it is going great. And I'm sure if I move it forward, if I needed to, it would, then I'd be really lifted. There goes Tom. He's on the Reedon kite. They had a demo day today, and it was awesome. And he was moving right along. I guess he loved that kite. And here I am, bucka broncoing again, and made it through that little dip and go. So the swells were pretty good size, but it seemed to be cutting through with the foil. And you can see the splash off the top of the board, but right there, no splash, so it must be foiling. And it's hard to get where you're at unless you're really high on the foil, and then you get a nosebleed sometimes because it's only a 2-foot foil, but it's scary up there even at 2 feet. So I think I had enough. I went far enough out, more than I want to swim back, so we're going to spin that board around and go the other direction. So I kind of have these, look at all the kiters. Oh my gosh, it's crazy how many kiters there are. Just kind of a light touch on the bar, not trying to pull anything too fast and too far. Trying to do more one-handed than anything. And it was blowing pretty good. Like I said, I had to trim the kite in a couple times. I think the next clip, it was kind of punched in a little bit. Kind of getting close to the shore here, and yeah, I had a couple weird beach landings, that's for sure. Try not to kill people. There's a lot of beginners, and not saying that I'm not a beginner, but there's a lot of people just learning. So here's one of the beach cams. I caught one clip of me kind of cruising along on the foil board. It's kind of hazy. I think my lens is dirty, but we're moving along, and then a nice little face plant up on foil and then crash. So So you can see a lot of chop going there, so I must be on the board. Kind of, I would call it taxiing. But the foil is underneath you, and you're definitely, it's definitely providing lift. It is pretty cool because there's not a lot of work involved to get that lift, except your body position is a lot different because you have to stay square over the board. And there's, oh, there goes that thing, Bucko Bronco, and then try to recover. And we're foiling. Look at that. And we're face planting pretty soon, I'm sure. So it was a lot of fun foiling. Hey, make sure you leave some comments down below. Hey, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And hey, there was a few people on the beach that said, hey, I saw your videos on YouTube. That's awesome. Hey, if you see me on the beach, make sure you say something. Give me a high five or whatever. Let me know your names. So I'll give you a shout out on the beach. There was a couple guys today. I didn't get their names, but I appreciate the feedback and you know, even the shout out. That was totally cool. So thanks a lot. Definitely no expert here. It's just trying to give you my perspective, learning how to kite board and foil board. Just an old guy having a great time, just mowing the grass, you know, back and forth, back and forth. I'm loving it. I can't get enough of it. Wish I could get more. You know, I'm only 2 hours away from the kite spot, so it makes it a little tricky. But other than one time at the beach, when I kind of flipped over weird, this session was really good. Kind of tweaked my ankle a little bit there, but towards beach. But you know, everything else was working out pretty good. I just kind of fell forward and let the kite fly back in the sky. Everything was good. There's that deep power right there. I was like, holy cow, I was a little overpowered. And but that didn't work out the way I thought it would. But I'm foiling right here, and I think Tom went cruising by again, so I gave him a little shock out. And then I'm like, okay, need more power. Yeah, that was a great foil part. And then let's power up the kite back up. It gets a little tricky by the buoys because I get scared of them and I want to cut into them and land on one. Because I know that's where all the sea creatures hang out, is by the buoy and chain line, so I'm like, that's not for me. And for those kiters that say, yeah, they're not worried about any of that stuff, you know, hey, great for you, but for me, I'm a chicken. I scuba dive, I do a lot of beach stuff, and you know what? I'd rather not be in the water. I'd rather be, or you know what? I'd rather be under the water than on top of the water floating around. So this is Mikey Mike once again, having a great time here at Belmont Shores in Long Beach. Doing a little foil board and learning. Third session out. We're having some fun. So if you haven't subscribed, once again, make sure you subscribe. Leave some comments down below. It's super important. It helps me get to the next level, and any tips would be totally helpful. So just moseying along here, we're doing pretty good. Kind of a taxi, a little foil, a little taxi, a little foil. But I was feeling pretty comfortable today. The winds were about 20 miles an hour on a 14 meter. Worked great for learning. And might have been a little overpowered a couple times, but worked out great. That was Mikey Mike. All right, you guys have a great one, man. Peace.